Hey everyone, Rarity Dash here, time for another blank commentary. Today I'm looking at Pinkie Tales, The Little Mermare by Magpiepony. Yeah, finally getting to this. I know it came out a few weeks ago, but I just did not have an opportunity for reacting to something like this until now, just because it is a longer video, and the last several weeks I've been under like time crunches and had stuff to watch, stuff to do, what with the holidays and all that stuff. So this just came out at a bad time for me, and now finally I can give it a look and see how it is. I'm expecting good things. I love this series, and I enjoy reacting to it, and I do enjoy The Little Mermaid. I mean, I'm guessing we're going to be going with the Disney version, because it's another one where there are some key differences. The original fairy tale is quite a bit darker, yeah, but expecting this will be based on the Disney stuff, and that's fine because that's always a lot of fun, and that's something more people can identify with. And yeah, as for casting, excited to see who's who. Only thing that really is that important, I think, is who is Ariel, and I can really see it being any number of the ponies. Rarity, there is sort of this whole sense of looking up at a world that she doesn't belong to and wanting to be a part of it. I could see that. I could also see it being Twilight. There's just sort of a similarity there in terms of something, I don't know, it just feels like that could be it. But it could also be Fluttershy, and really any of them. I mean, because Fluttershy has her voice, and that's something that's important to Ariel. Who's going to be Ursula? If we are going whole Disney here, that could be interesting too. I don't know. Maybe one of the villains. Let's just watch and find out. Okay. And here we go.
Pinkie Tales!
Pinkie Tales.
The Little Mermare. You're in for such a treat tonight.
Different art
Cousin
style,
Duncan.
huh?
This is one of my favorite stories, like, ever. It's all about the mysterious merponies that live under the sea. Shall we get started? Once upon a time.
Long ago, before the creation of Equestria, there was
Good
a
narrator?
vast cloud kingdom called Skyvale. It was the single largest Pegasus kingdom in the world, and it produced the weather for all neighboring Earth and Unicorn kingdoms. The Pegasi worked tirelessly, creating rainbows,
original
wind,
elements here.
and rain clouds that would then be traded away in exchange for food. The city itself
Don't remember that in
hovered
The Little
over a
Mermaid.
great blue ocean so that it could use the water for weather production. Ships of food and supplies had to sail all over this ocean to reach Skyvale. However, over a short span of time, less and less ships were able to reach their destination. Surviving sailors told tales of mystical singing voices that would lure the supply ships to their doom, sinking to the bottom of the ocean, crew and all. Scholars and skeptics ruled these tales as myths, denying knowledge of any known creature able to pull off such a feat. Unbeknown to the pony world above, an underwater city called Aquatica lay directly beneath the Pegasi.
Cool.
It was inhabited by all the creatures of the ocean, including the fabled merponies. The wise and benevolent king had forbidden his subjects to swim to the surface world, lest they be caught by the pony races above. He feared those ponies would invade his kingdom and take their resources for their own greedy purposes. This, however, did not
Pinkie.
stop the
Okay.
curiosity and adventurous
works.
spirit of the king's daughter, Partio. Against her father's wishes, she would swim to the surface to learn of the world she was forbidden to see.
Wow.
One particular afternoon, Partio made the journey towards the surface in search of something
And
special.
Fluttershy is
Her faithful
Flounder.
friend, Floundershy, followed nervously, despite her growing anxiety of being caught.
That's perfect.
Are you sure we should
Flounder
be going this way? Some pony might see us.
Floundershy cautioned, darting her eyes as she swam.
Oh, you're just being a scaredy Fins, Floundershy. Besides, I had to find something special for Maud Cod's birthday. Remember? Get it, Maud Cod? Because cod is a type of fish. I know, but
Wow.
you never know what might be lurking.
So we're gonna have Maud in this story.
I thought you loved all kinds of fish and animals. Oh, I do. I I'd love sea stars, and sea sponges, and Nemo, and even a nice shark.
Nemo.
But have you seen an octopus trap its prey? All those arms. Why does it need all those arms? You're silly, Floundershy. There's no octopuses here. Come on, it's not much farther.
Party L giggled at the silliness of her friend's phobias and continued towards the surface. It wasn't long before she broke through the waves, smiling at the sunlight overhead.
Nothing like breathing in the dry, salty air. I guess that means the pony part of me still has air-type lungs, and the fish part of me has gills.
That's
Does that mean I
unique.
can breathe from my flank?
Let's try not to question the logistics of my pony anatomy, Pinkie.
Ugh, you're one of those
It is
narrators
pretty curious,
with
though.
big ol' leaky words I can't understand. What are you, a Twilight wannabe?
Party L scanned the waves looking for a little island that she wanted to visit in order to meet up with a strange sky dweller friend.
Are you ignoring me?
Yeah. Oh, Rarity.
Is that you, darling?
A familiar voice called. Party L smiled and swam to greet her friend, Floundershy trailing after her just beneath the waves.
Partiel, what brings you up here?
Hang on, Birdie. Hey,
Birdie.
don't you ignore me. I have a legitimate question.
I
and
love
you
the
just
names in this
shoot
series.
me up just like that?
They're always perfect.
The other narrators warned me about you. They said if you get out of line, I can send you to the bad Pinkie corner.
But I'm the star. You can't punish the star or the story won't
Always the bad
continue.
Pinkie corner.
I guess you'd better behave.
Gets a lot of
Or
use.
Pound and Pumpkin will be very disappointed, won't they?
You don't play fair. But that's really smart. I like you. We're gonna get along just fine, you and me.
So, Partiel, what brings you up here on this glorious day?
Birdie asked. Birdie was a seagull, and the first and only friend of Party L's who lived above the ocean. She would spin marvelous
Birdie.
tales of her travels and show her little trinkets she had acquired from the ponies in the Cloud Kingdom.
I'm here for a super special reason. My sister's birthday is today, and I want to get her something extra super duper amazingly special-rific. Won't your father be suspicious if you bring her something from the pony world? Oh, please. He doesn't know his pearls from his dingle hoppers. How would he find out?
I'm sure.
Birdie smiled and displayed an array of gemstones she had collected over the years and stashed on her little island.
Alright, let's see what I have here for your sister. An emerald perhaps? Or a ruby? I suppose it would depend on her colors. Tell me, is she a winter or a summer? It makes
Maud
all
will
the
probably like
difference,
any of them.
darling.
Ooh, that one! That one!
Knowing Maud.
Party L shouted, pointing her hoof at a dull and unremarkable stone.
Yeah,
that washed
she's
ashore.
gonna like that one best, though.
That. But that's just a rock.
Aren't all of these rocks?
Yeah.
Well, technically I suppose they could be classified as rocks, but these are gemstones. Far more valuable than any washed up little pebble. I thought you were looking for something a little more exotic. Why bother coming to shore if you're going to pick something that can be found anywhere in the ocean?
Yeah.
This rock looks just like a sea cake. You can't find that on the ocean floor. It's super duper special, and Modcott is gonna love it. Can I have it, Birdie? Can I?
Oh, alright. If you insist.
Thanks, Birdie.
Party L started, but was cut off.
Love
when
the
she
art
noticed
in
a
this.
strange array of colors pass
Definitely
overhead from one cloud to the
quite
next.
different.
Party L had never seen a rainbow before, and its beauty had left her speechless.
Feels
Oh my.
quite
Looks as
storybook-like.
if the prince is at it again.
The
Oh, and
prince?
Oh, yes.
so Rainbow Dash is gonna be the
Pegasus
prince.
has a habit of taking the rainbows from production and flaunting them about when he flies. It is rather lovely though, isn't it?
Rainbow. Is that what that is?
Party L said, reaching out her hoof in bewilderment.
Speak of the stallion.
So-
Here he comes now.
The blue Pegasus with a mane that matched the brilliance of the rainbows he carried was flying fast and freely overhead. And
And what? And what?
do you mean to tell me the prince is Rainbow Dash again?
Pinkie Dash
Excuse
time.
me, but this is Prince Dashy. Totally different prince and a totally different story.
No, it's Rainbow Dash, and she was already a prince in Cindershy.
Look, I can't go around making every pony think that I'm a Flutterdash shipper. Okay? It's Prince Dashy, and he is totally different from that other prince.
Okay, so Rare.
Good of you,
Bird
Pinkie, to not
is
want to be a
mare,
Flutterdash shipper.
Floundershy is a mare, but Prince Dashy is a stallion.
Don't question my logic. We're all just playing a role here. Genders mean nothing.
As the prince flew, a colorful rainbow would follow like a streak of light in the sky. Partio could only catch glimpses of the prince as he flew quickly from one cloud to another. She sighed and put her hooves to her chest, looking down at it in confusion.
That's strange. I feel all tingly inside.
Partiel, do you have feelings for the prince? A mermaid with a crush on a Pegasus. Oh, ridiculously romantic. You must find a way to speak to him. You must.
But how? The Pegasi live too far above the water to reach.
Love will find a way, won't it, Partiel? Oh, I'm so excited. Tell you what, why don't you swim down and write him a letter, and I'll deliver it to the prince myself.
You do that for me?
Of course, darling. What else do I have going on? I'm an annoying squawking little bird with no social standings. Go on, hurry home with you, and be back with that letter
What a great
before
line.
sundown.
Partio squeed and dove back under the waves, swimming as fast as her fins would take her. Floundershy had to grip onto the base of Partio's tail just to keep up.
But what about your sister's party?
We're using...
Floundershy said shakily as she was thrashed back and forth in the water.
Don't worry, Floundershy. I can do both. I'll write the letter, give Modcott her present, and then sneak back to the surface before sundown. You'll do
And Twilight.
Anew, but for
Twilight is
voice
Sebastian.
called, Partio gasped and stopped mid-swim.
What's the name?
inadvertently slinging Floundershy off her tail and into her crustaceous friend.
Sorry, Tribastian.
Floundershy said, swimming away from the crab to hide behind Partio.
Did I hear you say you'll sneak back to the surface? Partiel, your father has strictly forbidden
I think it
you
would have
to
been more
toy
funny
with
if
us.
Rarity was the crab, just because of the meme.
It's love.
What?
Partio may have seen the Pegasus Prince, and, she has kind of a crush on him. Oh, it's much more than that. I'm an impulsive teenager with single-minded determination to get what I want, and I've set my sights on something that I just can't have. It must be fate.
Wow.
This has gone too far.
How?
If your father found out that I let you swim to the surface again, he'd have my head. You're coming with me right now, and you're never to speak of this nonsense again. Understand?
Okay.
Partio said with a shrug, giving up uncharacteristically soon.
I was done speaking about it anyway. I'd much rather sing.
Oh.
Oh no.
Partiel!
A wonderful feeling I have growing.
Got a
Yeah,
song.
Please don't start.
It's a twitchy, itchy, warm sensation.
I can feel a migraine.
I don't want to live without it.
Until now you didn't know
And I
it.
simply cannot doubt
And
it.
you really shouldn't show it.
There's no denying
Never been a song in one of these before.
falling for some pony.
Oy vey.
I dream of living in the clouds and flying freely with him. No pony else can make me feel like I'm in love. I wanna watch the sunset from way up high, so far from all these worlds.
The rules are what keep you safe.
Now that I have seen him,
This is
I'm
cute.
convinced.
That didn't take much.
He's the pony I'm supposed to be.
How
with.
would you know?
Just you wait, I'm gonna see
You
him.
mean you have only seen him?
Until I meet
You
him.
haven't actually met him?
Even though we're from two worlds, we'll be together.
Are you crazy?
A little bit.
Love living
Yeah.
in the clouds and flying freely with him. No pony else can make me feel like I'm in love. I wanna watch the sunset from way up high. Just my Dashy, and no pony else would ever be with him but me. Do you like how I finally snuck a song into Pinkie Tales?
Yeah, it was nice. Very
When Partio
Disney-esque.
returned to the Aquatic Palace, her
cranky.
cheerful disposition quickly faded. as she was met with the disapproving glare of King Crankyton.
Where have you been?
Just,
Okay.
finding a present for Modcot, of course.
Partiel said, placing the small stone on her sister's hoof. Modcot stared at it incredulously.
Metamorphic. Combination of granite and cloudcrete. Commonly found in the construction of Pegasi dwellings.
Pegasi dwellings?
But
I thought they
look
were made
how
of
it's
cloud.
shaped. Doesn't it look like a sea cake to you?
Partiel asked nervously, trying to divert her father's attention.
It looks like a rock. Thank you, Partiel. I love it.
You went to the surface again, didn't you?
Well, She was only trying to find the right gift for Modcart, Your Majesty Crankyton, sir.
Floundershy said, attempting and failing to help the situation.
Yeah.
Partiel, I have told you again and again never to go to the surface world. They're a greedy, vile, untrustworthy race only out for themselves. If they discovered we were beneath these waters, merponies and creatures alike would be in danger. Don't you understand that?
But Doodle Daddy, how do you know they're bad? Have you ever even met one?
That's enough. You will swim to
I
your
love how
room
silly
and
this
stay
is.
there for the rest of the night without joining the festivities of your sister's birthday.
What? But
Why, Bastion, you will guard her in her room.
Me?
Is there a problem with that?
No, sir. No problem.
Good. I don't want to hear another word about this surface nonsense ever again.
King Crankyton exclaimed, pointing his hoof in the direction of the palace. Partiel held back tears as she swam to her room in defeat. While the uncertainty of the surface world was a danger to merponies, there was a far more present evil lurking under the waves.
Oh.
Just outside
Who's it gonna be?
Aquatica lived three
Oh,
dark and magical
the Sirens.
creatures known as the Sirens.
Okay, that's different.
Unlike regular merpony kind, these creatures harnessed a strange magic that allowed them to affect
Was
the pony world above.
Totally not
Using their
expecting
red
them
crystals,
to come in.
They would sing
So it makes perfect
captivating
sense.
songs to pony sailors, guiding their ships into the rocks to
This
drown them.
makes the beginning
Although
make sense.
some merponies were grateful that the Sirens kept the land ponies at bay, King Crankyton feared their magic and banished them away from the city. Over time, their home became littered with the debris of the ships they sank, causing it to be named the Sunken Ship Graveyard. The Sirens kept to themselves and did not converse with many sea creatures, only those who dared to enter their domain. Their magic allowed them to keep an eye on both pony and merpony worlds. Until now, their efforts to achieve their goal had been futile. However, the sudden romantic interest from the merpony princess gave the Sirens an opportunity too perfect to resist.
A merpony in love with a Pegasus.
The eldest Siren, Adagio Dazzle, chuckled, gazing into an
Well,
enchanted
they keep their
bubble
original
that
names,
reflected an
too.
image of
That's cool.
Partiel, singing happily to her friends about her love for the prince.
So what?
Arya Blaze, the middle Siren, said,
Arya.
uninterested.
Still
This
best
could be
Siren.
exactly what we need to finally take control of Skyvale.
I thought we wanted Prince Dashy's medallion thingy.
The youngest, Sonata Dusk, asked, obliviously bobbing her head in tune with Partiel's song.
Duh. The medallion is what controls the weather, and whoever controls the weather controls Skyvale.
Oh, yeah.
Our crystals, combined with the prince's pendant, will give us all the power we need to control every ship that dares set sail on our ocean.
Why do we even
Nothing
bother
more important
sinking
than controlling the
anyway?
ships.
The fear we collect from pony sailors is never enough to satisfy our hunger. So what makes you think adding more shipwrecks will do anything?
We can sink them all at once by conjuring up the greatest storm this planet has ever seen. It'll be so epic that fear will be struck in the hearts of all pony kind.
Except the merponies. Merponies don't worry about storms.
Merponies don't even have magic to steal, Sonata.
Yeah, they do.
Do not.
Do too.
Do not.
Do too.
Enough!
Adagio screamed, effectively silencing the pair of them.
I want you two to follow that little mermare princess. Convince her that she might need a little help getting the pony of her dreams for the right price.
And what exactly are you going to be doing?
I'll be conjuring up a spell, of course. Something we can use to trap that little princess into doing what we need her to do.
I dream of living in the clouds and flying freely with him.
Will you shut it already?
Yeah.
It's catchy.
Pretty
While
catchy.
Party sulked and the Siren schemed, Prince Dashy was in the sky, struggling to pay attention
it's,
to a very important lesson. His mentor, Daring Duke, was attempting to teach him how to use the Skyveil pendant to
The
send
look is so
storm clouds
different.
to
I
the
didn't even
north.
recognize until I
Are you listening?
thought about the colors.
Royal pendant, blah, blah, blah. Big responsibilities, yada, yada.
Dashy said, lounging on the cloud with his hooves behind his head.
That blah 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 is very important. You're the prince for Skyville's sake, and your father has given the pendant to you for a reason. You and you alone have the power to send the weather across the world.
Thanks, Mr. Exposition. I think I got that.
Daring Duke growled under his breath, then attempted to regain his composure.
It's very important that you check with the Pegasi Cloudkeepers to make sure the right kinds of weather are sent to the right places. The biggest problem you're going to have is starting up the storm clouds.
What do you mean starting up? Doesn't his magic doohickey do all that?
Yes, but only on a cloud-by-cloud basis. After you use the pendant to send them on their way, it's your duty to start the lightning and thunder for each storm cloud. You have to be very careful though. Lightning is still unpredictable. Are you sure you can handle this?
Quit your worrying, Dookie Doo. I've been training my whole life for this. When do I start?
Right now, we're set to send this storm to the unicorns in the north. I'll go with you this time so you can—
Ready, set, go!
Prince Dashy announced, zooming past Daring Duke in
Yeah.
an array of colors.
Taking this very
Using
seriously.
the rainbows again to show off? Oh, Dash, we've talked about this!
Meanwhile, under the waves, Princess Pardielle and Floundershy had managed to slip away from Twybastian's watch. As soon as she was sure she hadn't been followed, she swam towards the surface, hoping to see more rainbows and, possibly, a glimpse of her beloved prince. Floundershy didn't protest this time, knowing that it was imperative they swim as quietly as possible. Pardielle could tell by the flashes of light above her head that a storm was brewing in the sky. She frowned, knowing that a rainbow and her prince wouldn't be around for such poor weather. She turned tail in defeat and resolved to swim home when she heard a mighty crack of thunder, followed by a loud splash. Pardielle looked in horror to see a slightly charred and wounded Prince Dashy sinking in the ocean.
Dashy!
Pardielle shouted, swimming after him. She didn't hesitate, scooping up her prince in her hooves and attempting to keep his head above the water. Shouldering his weight, she swam towards the only piece of land she knew existed, Birdide's Island. By the time she reached it, she slumped the prince's body on the sand and tried to catch her breath.
Wake up! Please wake up!
Pardielle whispered, unsure how to help him breathe. She shook him gently once, then again, pleading for him to open his eyes.
You have to wake up, Dashy. You just have to. You can't leave me. That's not how the story goes. You're supposed to be okay. Please, Dashy, you're scaring me.
Pardielle continued to panic and ramble until at last, Prince Dashy coughed and sputtered the water that had been in his lungs.
You're okay? Oh, Dashy, you're okay. What? Who are you? So pretty.
Aw.
Dashy! Where are you? Dashy, answer me!
Daring Duke called from somewhere in the sky. Pardielle gasped and dove back under the waves, not wanting to be caught.
Dashy! Hang on, I'm coming!
Daring Duke cried with a mixture of relief and panic in his tone. He landed on the beach near the prince and pulled him further away from the water.
Who was that? That mare. She saved me.
Hang on, Dashy. You'll be all right.
Daring Duke said, pulling the prince onto his back. With some struggle, he took off in flight towards the palace. Pardielle watched the exchange just below the water a few feet away. Her mind was buzzing with the words he had said.
I don't think he's coming back, Pardielle.
Floundershy said, putting a fin on her friend sympathetically.
He said I was pretty. He looked so happy. Even though he almost died, he looked at me like he loved me. I can't go on without him, Floundershy. I just have to know what he thinks of me. But how? You don't even know where he lives.
I guess that means you'll have to fly there.
Pardielle and Floundershy turned around sharply to see where the third unfamiliar voice had come. 2 strange merpony creatures had joined
Aria?
them, both looking friendly and still frightening at the same time.
Fly there?
Well, that's the only way you can get to Skyvale, isn't it?
And it just so happens we know how you can do it. Who are you?
Pardiel asked cautiously, Floundershy hiding behind her fin in the process.
We're the Sirens, of course.
You have heard of us, haven't you? Well, yeah.
Then you must know that we have access to some powerful magic.
And we're totally willing to share it with you, too. But why?
Follow us. We'll explain it on the way.
The pair of Sirens said, swimming away and expecting Pardiel to follow.
I don't think we should do it. Let's just go home. But they said they could help. They said I could see my prince again.
Floundershy grimaced in disagreement. Following her gut instinct, she slipped away from the princess and the Sirens when they weren't looking. She swam as quickly as her little fins would take her back towards Aquatica.
Come in, princess.
Going through all sorts of art
Adagio
styles here.
said, beckoning Pardiel forward. Pardiel noted that they were in a particularly large sunken pony ship. Spells and
They're all pretty
dangerous-looking
awesome, though.
objects
I mean,
line the shelves.
no
Nooks
complaints
and
about any of the
crannies
art
what
here.
was once the captain's
All
quarters.
looks great.
Whoa! You really have evil bad guy Lair down to an art!
My fellow Sirens here tell me that you have a bit of a problem. A Pegasus problem, to be exact.
I want to be a Pegasus so that I can fly up and find my prince.
Well, we can certainly help you with that.
Adagio said, gathering magical supplies while the other Sirens kept a close eye on Pardiel.
You will? But why?
I don't know what you've heard about us Sirens, but I assure you it isn't all true.
We're merponies, just like you.
We just want to belong. So you're not villains? You're just shy magical mermairs who sink ships and happen to live in a really spooky graveyard?
No ponies
Yeah,
ever harmed. The sailors merely fly away when the ship sinks.
I'm sure.
Or use their magic to teleport somewhere else.
Or flare around in the water and scream like little guppies because they never learned how to swim. What?
We only mean to
Good job,
protect
Sonata.
the merponies. Perhaps if the Pegasi understood us poor sea creatures, then they could keep other ponies from trying to hurt and use us.
So you can make me a Pegasus?
Well, yes.
But
We may be good merponies, but we don't work for free, you know.
I don't have any money with me, but I guess I could swim back and get you some if you really wanted me to. It's not like I'm hurting for riches, since, you know, I am a princess after all. No, But then again, what would you want with money? Oh, I know, maybe you just want to be friends, is that it? I mean, if I were a
I'm
misunderstood
sure,
pony who
yeah.
lived in Creepsville, I would just want some pony to be my friend and maybe teach me how not to seem so dark and mysterious all the time.
But you...
And if you befriend the princess, well then you've really got a good chance of impressing other ponies because, I mean, who doesn't love princesses, am I right? And I'm sure...
Your voice! We want your annoying, never-ending, high-pitched, squeaking voice, so we don't have to listen to it anymore.
Wow.
Stop!
Sonata wailed in the corner while Arya covered her ears.
But if I don't have my voice, how can I tell Dashi that I'm the one who saved him? And that he was all wrong about merponies and...
You'll figure it out, I'm sure. Do you really think he won't love you if you don't talk? Trust me, we're doing you a favor here.
Oh, well, then you'll make me a Pegasus for my voice, right?
Our spell will work for 3 days. You have until then to get Prince Dashi to say I love you. If he does, you'll remain a Pegasus forever and live happily ever after.
But what if I don't?
Then you'll have to come back and serve us.
Forever. Forever and ever?
Yes!
Oh, well, I don't know.
The clock
Sounds
is
like a wonderful
ticking,
deal.
Pardiel. This offer won't last forever.
Pardiel bit her lip and mentally weighed her choices. She heaved a sigh and nodded softly.
All right. Turn me into a Pegasus and I'll give you my voice. And if I fail, I'll work for you forever and ever and ever. I pinky promise.
Pinkie, what? What is that?
Look, just sign this magic parchment and the deed will be done.
Pardiel took the magic quill from beside the parchment and carefully scrawled her name on the dotted line. As soon as the quill left the parchment, it disappeared, and the 3 sirens laughed in unison. They used their crystals to conjure a magical beam of red light. It hit Pardiel directly in the chest and traveled up to her throat.
Wait! I didn't get to say goodbye and...
She started, but the magic pried the voice from her body before she could finish. Adagio smiled, engulfing the magic with her crystal and directing a second beam of light towards the mermare's chest. Sonata and Arya quickly following suit. In a red flash of light, Pardiel's body began to change.
No!
Floundershy shouted from the entrance to the lair.
You're too late.
Arya said with a dark smile.
Let her go!
Twibastion demanded, swimming at the sirens in anger.
The king will be furious!
Too bad. So sad.
The magic from the sirens'
Using
pendants
that
let out a
Sonata
final
line.
burst of light, and Pardiel reappeared. Somehow in the transformation, her mane and coat color
Okay,
changed,
so
along with her body.
now we got surprise.
Her once bright pink complexion was now a pale white,
That's-
with a yellow
that's
bouncy
neat.
mane and
Good-
tail.
Good
She
touch.
didn't have long to admire her new flank, hooves, and wings, however, before she began choking on the lack of oxygen.
If we were you, we'd hightail it up to that little island before your princess drowns.
This isn't over!
Twibastion called, assisting Floundershy as they carried Pardiel away quickly. The sirens giggled to themselves as they watched the trio of friends struggle to the surface.
Our plan is in action.
Adagio started, but stopped mid-sentence when she realized the voice coming from her throat was no longer her own.
Wait.
Oh my gosh. No, this can't be happening. The magic wasn't supposed to do that.
Oh, great. Now we have to listen to that high-pitched whine all the time.
This is the funniest thing I have ever seen. Like, ever. No!
That's
Adagio
great.
screamed again in anger, the other sirens having to stifle their laughter in the process.
Oh, what were you thinking?
Twibastion raged, pacing back and forth on the little island while Pardiel attempted to use her back hooves.
The king is going to kill me! I am a dead crab!
Maybe we should have brought him to the sirens instead.
What? Are you crazy? He would have been even more mad! I was supposed to watch her! Not only did I fail, but now she's gone and made a deal with the sirens? She's a Pegasus now! She's the very thing the king hates the most! I am so dead!
Pardiel rolled her eyes and opened her mouth to talk, but no sound came.
And, of course, you can't even talk now. How in the hay are you supposed to do anything if you can't even talk? Obviously, you had to promise something to the sirens in order for them to give you this spell. If the price was your voice, then what's the catch?
Pardiel scrunched her face and put a hoof to her mouth, trying to think of a way to convey her message. She brightened when she met Floundershy's gaze and waved her hooves to get her attention.
Oh, I think she's trying to tell us something.
You think?
Pardiel moved her hooves dramatically and changed her facial expressions, not dropping Floundershy's gaze.
Let's see. I get to be a Pegasus for 3 days and have to make the prince say I love you before time is up, or else I
Wow.
turn into a mermare and have to serve the sirens forever.
Floundershy interpreted. Pardiel smiled and nodded enthusiastically.
You got all of that from her hoof flailing?
I guess so, yeah.
A lot of good that will do us. Floundershy can't exactly follow you to Skyvale and interpret. Besides, I don't think ponies can understand animals. Well, not many of them anyway.
Then what are we going to do?
The only thing we can do. I'll have to go with Pardiel to Skyvale, and you will have to stall the king until this whole mess is sorted out.
Me? Stall the king?
Unless you have a better idea.
Pardiel attempted for a second time to remain on her hooves, but continued to fail, falling back on the sand and sending it toppling over her friends in the process.
I guess not.
Floundershy said, shaking the sand from her gills.
All right then. First things first. We'll have to figure out how to get you to stand on those things.
Twibastion said, Pardiel nodding enthusiastically in response. Meanwhile,
And
Daring
get
Duke
another-
and Prince
another
Dashi were
drastically
wandering the
different
beaches
art
below
style.
Skyvale in search of the mysterious mare who had saved the prince's life. Daring Duke was unconvinced that such a mare existed, claiming that she was a figment of Dashi's imagination.
I'm telling you, Dookie Doo.
Please stop calling me that. You know I hate that.
That's why I do it. But
Of course.
Listen, I know that mare is out there somewhere. There's no other way I could have survived this without her.
Wait, is that her?
Daring Duke asked in shock, pointing a hoof at a clumsy-looking Pegasus who couldn't seem to fly straight.
No, the mare I saw was pink, but it looks like she needs some help.
Left. No, not right. Up.
Twybastian said in exasperation. He was hidden somewhere in Partiel's mane, near her ear, getting landsick from Partiel's amusing attempts at flight. Partiel didn't give up, keeping her sights set on the castle ahead. She didn't realize Dashi was flying to her aid, and before the prince could say a word, Partiel collided into him. The pair of them tumbled to the ground.
Whoa! Are you okay, miss?
Dashi asked, righting himself. Partiel looked up and beamed from ear to ear. She had found her prince at last. She leapt from the ground and tackled him in a hug, catching the prince off guard.
Nice to meet you, too.
Dashi said, trying to pry himself from the hug and failing.
What's your name?
Partiel released him from her embrace and moved her lips to respond, forgetting that she was without a voice. The prince looked at her both confused and slightly amused as she flailed her hooves and attempted to convey her name.
Huh. You can't talk, can you?
It took him how long to figure that out?
Twybastian muttered from Partiel's mane. Even so, Partiel's over-exaggerated movements and infectious smile struck a chord with the prince. This mare was so close to the one he was seeking that he felt drawn to her.
Hey, you're new to Skyvale, aren't you?
Partiel nodded enthusiastically.
Do you need some kind of help? My friend Dookie Doo and I saw you struggling to fly. Here, take my hoof. We'll get you back to the castle so you can rest.
Shouldn't that be pretty
have an
weird,
excellent
though,
staff
that
who
a
can make
Pegasus
sure you're
doesn't know
all
how to
right.
fly?
Partiel's heart leapt and she reached out her own hoof to his. However, she failed to remember how to keep her balance on 3 hooves and toppled over again. Prince Dashi laughed as he helped her back onto her wobbly hooves.
You certainly know how to surprise a pony. Since I don't know your name, can I call you that? Surprise?
He didn't even
Nice.
attempt to learn your name, so he just names you? This is the pony you want to be with?
Twybastian whispered to Partiel. Partiel ignored him and nodded, happy just to be in her prince's presence again. That afternoon, Partiel had
And
been
yet
given
another
a
art
clean bill
style.
of health by Prince Dash's staff. Once
Very
he was
adorable.
sure, Prince Dashi offered to tour the kingdom together. He showed her how they made the weather, and how his pendant was the key to activate... You know what? This Pinkie Tales has already gone on for a good chunk of time. I think I might just skip ahead to the romantic sunset. Any objections? No objections. Cool. Maybe we can cut out that other song, too. Save some time. Great. On with the story, then.
1 more hour. Only 1 more hour. You have to get him to say it,
Love it.
Partiel.
Twybastian cautioned from Partiel's mane. Partiel was too preoccupied staring lovingly into Prince Dashi's eyes to pay the crab any attention. The pair of them were snuggled on a blanket atop the sand of a beach just below Skyvale. Prince Dashi had wanted to watch the sunset with her and reminisce about the fun and frivolity of the days they had spent together. Partiel had had the time of her life with Dashi, and each day her love grew stronger. Twybastian was the only voice of reason to remind her of the situation at Hoof. Every passing hour, he became more frantic in his attempts to get Dashi to say the magic words.
You know, a few days ago, I would have done anything to find that mare who saved me. I thought I was in love with her. But I don't think I've ever met someone like you, Surprise. You're so fun and random. And those pranks you pulled? Classic. Though, I doubt Dookie Doo will be very happy with you for a while.
Partiel smiled again and snuggled closer to the prince.
Aww.
This sunset's really pretty, isn't it?
Dashi said, pointing to the sparkle of sunlight on the water. Partiel's eyes widened at the mention of the sunset, and her entire demeanor changed. She quickly pulled away from the prince and put a hoof on her chest, then pointed to Dashi. She did the same to him, trying to get him to understand.
Oh, so now you listen to me.
Wait, what's wrong?
Partiel continued the cycle, touching her chest, then the prince, touching his chest, and then herself. Unfortunately, the prince wasn't catching on.
Yeah.
Have
Dash isn't
heartburn?
the
Partiel
best
shook her
at this.
You're trying as secret hoof shake?
Pardiel shook her head again, glancing at the sunset in panic.
Oh, come on!
No.
It's not that difficult.
Twybastian exclaimed from within Pardiel's mane.
Who said that?
Prince Dashi said, examining Pardiel's head curiously. Twybastian popped out of the hair in bewilderment.
You can understand me? You could have understood me this whole time?
I can speak to any animal. It's part of my princely teachings, duh. Though, I still have a difficult time speaking to monkeys. But, wait, so who are you?
There's no time to explain. Quick, tell Pardiel you love her before the sun sets.
Pardiel looked at the prince with wide, pleading eyes, and though he didn't understand, he took the little crab's instruction.
I guess I do love you, Surprise, or Pardiel, was it?
The sun set over the water as soon as the words escaped his mouth. Twybastian gave a loud cheer in celebration.
You did it, Pardiel, you did.
But before Twybastian could finish his victory, Pardiel vanished into thin air, leaving a confused crab and prince behind.
Where did she go?
To fulfill her part of our little bargain, of course.
A new voice said as the three sirens emerged from the sea. Their crystals were glowing, and a trapped pink mermare hovered above the water beside them.
Let her go!
Prince Dashi demanded, attempting to fly to Pardiel's aid, but was instead repelled by the siren's magic.
He said he loved her. That was the deal.
Did you really expect us to be honest? If Pardiel had read the contract rather than
Yeah.
rattled on, she would see that she would end up our slave anyway.
And why didn't you say it to her sooner? I mean, Pardiel can still read and write, right? She signed her name on the contract. Is the prince illiterate or something?
You're getting off track. We have a little
That's an amazing
drink
point.
with the prince here. Now that we know you're in love with that pathetic little mermare, we're willing to bet you'll do just anything to save her. Wait, that voice.
Are you just figuring everything out now? Your precious mermare princess traded her voice to Adagio so she could be a Pegasus for you. Duh.
Then it was you who saved me. I knew it.
Prince
Wouldn't
Dashi
expect her to
exclaimed
figure
happily
all
as
that
Pardiel
out.
nodded her head. His excitement was short-lived, however. Realizing the danger Pardiel had gotten herself into on his behalf, he turned to face the sirens with a dark glare.
What do you want? Your pendant, of course. Give it over, or Pardiel will serve us for the rest of eternity as a
Taco cart!
Taco carts.
What? I've always wanted one of those.
fat chance.
Prince Dashi shouted, holding the pendant in the air and summoning a storm cloud. He flew to the top of the cloud and kicked aside, sending bolts of lightning to the sirens and the containment field around Pardiel. The sirens growled and their crystals grew brighter, deflecting the lightning and sending it back towards Dashi. The prince dodged and kicked the cloud towards the sirens to distract them. While they thrashed their hooves trying to dissipate it, Prince Dashi was flying circles around them, his pendant glistening as he did so. Soon after, a tornado formed around the sirens and sent all three of them spiraling into
Dashi.
the air. Dashi flew to Pardiel's aid, beating his hooves against the bubble around her.
Don't worry, I'll get you out of here.
Dashi said, putting his hoof against the bubble, Pardiel doing the same.
The crystals! Destroy the crystals and you'll destroy the sirens!
Twybastian called from the shore.
Of course!
Dashi
Oh.
answered. He flew towards the tornado, using
Animation.
all the strength in his wings to keep from being pulled into it. Aiming his pendant just right, Dashi sent a bolt of lightning into the
Cool.
jumbled sirens, hitting Adagio's crystal. He gave a victorious cheer when he saw a pink ray of magic escape the tornado. The magic flew directly at Pardiel, bursting the bubble that contained her. Pardiel splashed back into the sea. When she emerged, her voice had been fully restored.
Pardiel, you're okay.
Prince Dashi cried, flying into her open hooves.
I'm fine, but I think we have a big problem.
Pardiel cried, pointing her hoof at the sirens who escaped the tornado, with smug grins on their faces, their crystals each glowing brighter than they had before.
Did you really think you had won, little prince? Now that you have restored my true voice, we can unleash our magic on you. That pendant will be ours.
Adagio announced with a cackle. She and the other sirens turned their attention to the prince and began to sing. Their hypnotic spell was drawing the prince towards them, and he was helpless to stop it.
Dashi, no!
Party cried, holding him back as best as she could. Bastion aided the princess, jumping from Party mane onto Prince Dashy's back and crawling up to cover his ears.
Don't listen! If you don't listen, they can't control you!
The siren's singing grew stronger, and it proved too powerful for Dashy to resist. He mindlessly pulled away from Party and flew towards the sirens, holding out his pendant as he did so.
I don't think so.
Daring Duke called, flying directly into Dashy and sending him to the ocean where Party was waiting. She caught him, putting her hooves over his ears and making sure he was unable to turn back to the singing villains. Daring Duke had swiped the pendant from the prince long before he hit the waves. The sirens, undeterred, began their hypnotic spell on the Duke. They soon learned, however, that their song was unheeded. Daring Duke had preemptively plugged his ears, effectively blocking their magic. He unfurled a whip that had been wrapped around one of his wings, and with one mighty crack, he bound all 3 sirens together by their tail fins.
Now it's my turn.
King Cranky
There we go.
emerging
Wondering
from the
when he
water
would
in
show
a
up.
magnificent display. The crown atop his head was glowing, and from the pearl embedded within, a great flash of light shot magic through the air towards the unsuspecting sirens.
Nice.
A great swirling vortex appeared before them. Daring Duke smiled and nodded, whipping the sirens around in the air for a moment before slinging them into the portal. The sirens' screams echoed as the portal closed around them, forever trapping them on the other side.
Whoa! Didn't think you had that in you, Dookie Doo.
Prince Dashy said, shaking his head to
Yeah,
clear
that
the
was
trance
pretty
he'd been in.
impressive.
I haven't really been honest with you, Your Highness. I'm not really a duke. I've been hunting those sirens long before I got to Skyvale. I knew they'd be after the pendant, so I masqueraded as a duke in an effort to keep it safe.
Oh, so you're only like me for my pendant.
Dashy said jokingly, shoving his friend. Daring Duke sighed and rolled his eyes.
You're not half as incompetent as I thought. The pendant will be safe with you, Dashy. Though I have to admit, that portal of yours sure was useful.
I thought merponies didn't have magic.
Well, we've had it, but I don't like to use it. No self-respecting pony relies on magical nonsense unless it's absolutely necessary.
Where do they go?
Floundershy asked, finally feeling brave enough to swim out from her hiding place behind the king. Artiel smiled, knowing that Floundershy had been the one to alert her father what was happening. Ultimately, she had saved her life. Partiel swam into her and hugged her tightly, before answering her question.
Can't rely high. Alternate universe S's will take
Of
care
course.
of them with alternate universe Pony Twilight.
Partiel, you are in worlds of trouble. When we get back to the palace, you will be grounded for the rest of your life and...
Please, Doodle Daddy, please let me stay with Prince Dashy. I love him.
Partiel pleaded. Prince Dashy joined her, flying just above the waves.
And I love her too.
No, absolutely not. No daughter of mine will marry a Pegasus.
As the king ranted on, a white bird
Birdie.
swooped in and stole the crown from atop the king's head. His wing
was wondering
fell
if
into
she
the
would
ocean
come
in the
back.
Process.
Haha!
Birdie cried, placing the crown on her own brow.
My ship will live on!
The magic of the crown activated, and
My
Partiel's fins began to change. In a burst of bright light, she turned back into a Pegasus and jumped into the hooves of her prince. Satisfied with herself, Birdie returned the crown to the king, still perched upon it in case he got any ideas about changing her back.
You're bald?
You know, if you let Partiel stay with the prince, I'm sure we could all forget that we saw that.
All right, fine. You
That's
can stay
great.
with the Pegasus. But if this true love thing doesn't work out, you can bet I'll be back here to take you home.
Don't worry, that'll never happen. Okay, everyone can go away now. This part of the story is just too good to share.
It's rocks in the shape of the end. I guess that means the story is over. Unless you'd like me to tell you all the different rocks I found at the bottom of the ocean.
I'd love to hear it.
Quite enough of that. Well, Pounded Pumpkin, I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope to see you all again next time for some more Pinkie Tales.
Oh, there's an extended version of the song. Cool. Venomel in there. Cool. And lots of familiar names. Whelpcake, of course. Ashley H. Good. Mm-hmm. Oh. Egghead and the Beast. Well, we know who the main character there is going to be. Though I would have guessed that anyway. Who else are you going to cast as Belle besides Twilight? That's just too perfect. Okay. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. That was a big departure from the previous ones. It felt a lot more serious, like a more actually sincere, serious retelling of the story as opposed to just a parody or jokey thing done for laughs. It still had laughs, it still was fun, it still had its jokey moments and the ridiculous, silly names and whatnot, but it did feel like it was taking itself a lot more serious and had more ambition with how it was telling the story and original ideas incorporated into it. I mean, we had the whole inclusion of the Sirens, including them in there, and adding a bit more lore to how the world of the story works, and everything with the pendant and the weather and whatnot, and just all that stuff, the twist with Daring Do, and it just felt like there was a lot more ambition with this one. And that also went into the art, how it was presented with all this great art. It's definitely a big departure from the previous couple, which have had the pointy pony stuff, which was great, but it was more geared toward the silly comedic aspect of the series. Having more detailed, more drawn out art like this, it definitely supports the more serious and more considered approach that this one took. And we even had a bit that was animated and a song. This is definitely a big step up in terms of just the overall quality of the presentation. A lot of work went into this one. I mean, a lot of work went into all of them, but this one, it really just shows in big ways. And it was really entertaining. It was really fun. It was a good version of the story. I mean, it wasn't maybe as funny as some of the previous ones, but it was just in its way completely an engaging and interesting version of the Little Mermaid story. And the characters were fun. I liked Partiel. Partiel was good. Hadn't even thought about Pinkie for that role, but it does make sense. There is that sort of aspect to Ariel's character, which does have that work. I mean, probably you could have had any of the main six be that part. I mean, maybe not Applejack, but I could have seen any of the other ones. Maybe Rainbow Dash would be a stretch too, but the other four, I could see any of them. And Floundershy was just perfect. That's just perfect. I mean, the fish is even yellow, and that was great. I mean, maybe Birdie and Twi Bastion, you could have switched those two and it would have been the same, but it was also good this way. Good, it worked. And I think the story did seem to diminish the father's role a bit, Cranky in there, which was an odd choice. I wouldn't have ever expected that. But I remember the father in Little Mermaid having a bigger role and a bigger, more important part in the climax, if I recall. It's been a while since I've seen the film, though. I think I remember it. I've seen it like 6 or 7 times in my life, so I think I remember it pretty well. Yeah, Rainbow Dash was the prince again. But I mean, when you set up the whole Pegasus aspect to the story, who else is it going to be? I think other ponies could be the prince eventually. I mean, Applejack definitely could, and could probably have any of them be the prince, really. But Rainbow Dash does fit the role quite well. She definitely has that episode, especially when you want the prince to be a little dumb. It works. Which, thinking about it, Applejack wasn't even in this one. That's interesting. There was, nowhere to be found. Though I think that's happened before, that one of the main six wasn't in one of these, or I don't even know. But yeah, this was good. This was possibly my favorite of these. I don't know. It definitely had the most put into it, which has me appreciate it a lot. Though some of the other ones were pretty enjoyable, and this one was long. I think this is the longest one yet. I don't know if that's true, but it felt like it. Or no, it didn't feel like it, but I think it is. I don't know. The last couple have been pretty long, though. I think the Aladdin one was also pretty long, close to the same length. But yeah, good stuff, and I'm looking forward to the next one, Beauty and the Beast. Great movie that is, if indeed we're going off the Disney film again. Probably one of my favorite Disney movies, and I'll be eager to see what they do with that. I mean, Twilight as Belle is, obvious. I'll be more curious to see who they have as the Beast. No idea. Though I guess we'll find out when it comes out, which hopefully is fairly soon, though I'm sure it'll take time, since if it's going to be like this one, then that's going to probably take a lot of time. Anyway, hope you liked the commentary, let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.